Hi, everybody. I'm back here with Clara Bellino and continuing our midweek Bellino break interview subjects. Clara, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Nice to see you again.
In the last one, we talked about guitar tips, and you kind of mentioned some things about songwriting. So this month is going to be focused on songwriting. And what better way to start off than asking you, how do you write songs? Is it like the Beatles, you just sit down and it just comes out and that's the way it's going to be? Or is it more like, like King Crimson or Yes, where it's like constantly being tinkered with? Or like until it's eventually just like something that's new and unique and you're happy with it?
Well, a mixture of all the above, but typically I write songs. I come from lyrics a lot. So for me, songs are a way to express something I have to say. And when I have a text that I'm happy with, it's almost like the rhythm of the text, the mood of the song, the almost the chords, because it matches my voice, are all there. I can hear it. So when I've written a text that really hits home for me, I can hear the song. And from there's different ways of doing it. So when I play with people, it could be like that thing where, oh, wow, and we added this and we added, it's not King Crimson, but it's, it amplifies with each person or instrumentation that we choose. So that's how I write songs. It doesn't mean that after I've crafted it and I found the chords that match the mood, I don't go back and change a lyric here. I mean, as long as there's something that kind of sticks out as being uncomfortable, I keep working on it. I don't think I'm as obsessive, for example, as a wonderful songwriter Leonard Cohen, who talked about, sometimes for a year changing a word and changing another word. But in a sense, it's never really done being written. And ideally, a song to me, if I can perform it solo on my guitar and it holds together, then the possibilities are endless. And as to, what it could sound like when it's with multiple people.
Kind of going back to something you brought up earlier in that answer, playing with other people, then you have a lot of instruments going on in some of your songs.
Yeah.
Do you write out all that music? Is that just contributed or?
A combination of both. So I can write the chart and I have the melody and I have the chords. And along the way, I have worked with people who say they play by ear, or people who are very professional musicians. I have to say, to me, the energy of the people I play with is really important. I find it really difficult. It's kind of the same thing as with any area of my life. I love being around people who are willing, who feel like there's always more to learn. And so while there was a point where, I'm not saying I'm past that point, but there was a point where I would, I would work with anybody and I would find a way to communicate with them, because I know music, I know theory, I know chords, I can write the stuff. And if somebody doesn't know that, I can still find a way to show them where the information is on a guitar, on a bass, and to elaborate. I don't write every single note I bring in at this point people who I can give my information to. And, when we've agreed on the direction of the production, I count on the creativity and I count on it, but I trust the creativity of the people we've chosen to add a big element of what it's going to turn out being.
Last question for this one. How do you approach writing vocal melody? As you said earlier, you start with the lyrics and then the instrumentations come out. How does the vocal melody come from that?
I like melodies that have surprising elements in them. It's not to say that when I have a lyric, I'm going to make sure that, it's going to be a surprise at every turn. But I basically speak it first. I speak it as I naturally would say it. I also practice it rhythmically. I think about it in terms of which vowels are stretched out and how the consonants are kind of a springboard for the vowels. But then back to the melody, it starts as often as the simplest way to say it. And I think if you have a song that's well crafted, the way I understand a song that's well crafted, there's a build up in your text, because you start with something and then you add more and then you add more, and then there's kind of a climax of all of this. And so I think when you have a lyric that's well crafted, as you go along, there's a natural slight changes of the notes that are a build up, and they happen really because they're part of what you're expressing. So I don't set out to write a particular melody, but I really love the nuances that happen when you get a little more emphatic. You might raise that note, and then you might raise that note, and that's kind of what creates the melody. It's more the emotional intent than it has to be a melody. It has to match the emotion of the song.
Right, that's an interesting answer. That's cool. Cool. All right, so all right, so that's it for this part. We got one more part after this on the music industry itself. Thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.